Good dude. Chief.
Yeah.
Still here.
Dude, we have...
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's not
Oh,
loud.
there he
Quit
is.
talking behind his back.
Oh, he is a good dude. Chief, you're a good guy, man.
Hey, I'm serious. I kind of want to work for you.
You can have JJ. And his wine coolers.
All right, where's another beer? Grab me some.
I got what you want. Bud? Push light.
I had a cup.
Right in front of you, dude.
No one.
What's that guy?
This is mine.
What do you want a cup for, then?
I was looking out for my friend.
He's got a cup.
I didn't know that at the time I said it.
Hey, man.
Ready, Johnny?
We rolling.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Columbo's for another episode of The Brighter Side of Blue. We are the Columbo's is the home of the SIBO's special, right? What was the special today, Ricky?
Oh, God.
Liver and onions.
Liver and onions.
Bullshit.
Come
Jesus.
on, Ricky.
For those that like liver and onions, how was it, Ricky?
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Did you bring it
It's
with
a
you?
lie.
You like that, JJ?
No, hell no.
No.
Liver and onions.
I love
Horrible.
onions.
All right. I'm Tommy.
I'll eat gizzards.
I'm JJ.
I'm Czech.
I beat you.
Producer John's in the house.
All right.
All right, Johnny.
But JJ, before we get any further, we need an update on officers Kelly Smith and Jeff Stoll, two of your tremendous officers from Mobile Reserve. They were involved in a horrific car accident, but thank God that things are going in the right direction for both officers. But give us an update.
I actually haven't checked with him in about a week. I'm joking.
Right,
I'm
right.
joking.
Are you
No.
serious?
Right,
No.
the snow. He couldn't
Snow's
get
bad.
there because of the snow.
No, we're in constant contact and help doing whatever we can for him. But Kelly Smith was able to go home, so we gave him a little escort.
Great.
And took him home, and he's doing good. He's needs to be careful because he's getting good so fast. They may expect him to come back to work, but no, he's got a long. He's got
see you next week, Kelly.
yeah, kind of. No, he's got a long ways to go. He's got his legs in bad shape, but he's going to make a full recovery. He's doing good, and his attitude's great. And poor Jeff Stoll keeps getting surgeries. He's had, I don't know if it's his 5th surgery or 6th surgery today. He had surgery on his hand. The plate they put in his hand, his right hand was bad shape, and they decided they wanted to they had to redo it and put a different plate in it. So he's kind of bummed out about that, but he's still keeping a good attitude. He's got a little bit longer ways to go.
Right.
But he's doing good. And I'll tell you what, his fiance is a freaking trooper, dude.
Solid.
She hasn't left his side.
Good.
I keep telling her.
What's
come
her
on.
name?
Meredith. I'm sorry, Meredith. She's a police officer. I keep texting her. I'm going to stop texting her and saying, hey, you need to tell Jeff that, hey, you need a break, and we'll sit with them. We'll whatever we can do, we'll stay with them while you go home and just kind of chill for a while. But
Right.
I'm going to quit asking because apparently
Is she
she's
the
there.
one with the cover that has the blood on it?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's silly.
So
I didn't hear this
No,
story.
no. They had this wonderful video of the two. They thought each other were dead.
Right.
So they wheel them in, and we put it on our
I did see that.
Instagram and Facebook, and
Right.
it's taken off. It's
Yeah.
a couple 100,000 views. And but one of the comments on Instagram first was, "What's up with the blanket with the blood on it?" And it's not. It's a blanket with a like cow skin
Yeah.
kind of a pattern.
Right.
And then there was a bunch of comments, and they finally cleared it up. Says it's just a cow skin thing. And then they started on Facebook, and we jumped on that.
I had people call me. They were horrified. They thought it was like blood.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They were
Crazy.
yeah.
People are stupid. But
Yeah, they thought Meredith just took the cover that he came in the hospital with and says, "I think I'm
hey,
going to wear this."
she
the
loves
rest
him
of
to
the time."
death, but she don't love him that much.
Right, exactly.
But and Kelly's wife, Amanda, she's been a trooper too. Hasn't left his side. Thankfully, he's home and doing good. And
Good.
there's a picture I need to give you. He took a picture of himself laying in his bed, watching, and you can see his leg up, and then you can see the Brighter Side of Blue podcast.
There you go. That's
Come on
good.
now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's go, baby.
I'll send
Come
it to you.
on,
It's
Kelly.
pretty funny.
That's good.
I said that's a good way to put you to sleep there, brother, when you need to go to bed.
Got to keep praying for him.
But I'll tell you what, the interview that we've got coming up is with Kyle Reyes. And people are like, who's Kyle Reyes? And I knew a Reyes from this department or that department. You know. But Kyle Reyes is a national spokesperson, an outspoken national spokesperson for law enforcement and the support of law enforcement. And his interview, we'll talk about it when we get back, but we've already done the interview. We want to get you guys to the interview. He says a lot of things that a lot of policemen wanted to say over the years. He says it. He's got some great stories about his travels throughout the country, supporting law enforcement and what he's done to support law enforcement. And our goals, our podcast, and his.
Time for a word from our sponsors, JJ. If you need some serious security, who do you go to?
Personally, I would go when you're looking for real protection, not just a badge on a wall. Make the call to the Campbell Security Group, based right there in St. Louis. They're veteran-owned and powered by former law enforcement and military professionals, from executive protection to private air security. They got your back. Get a peace of mind when it matters most. Visit CampbellSecurityGroup.com or call 314-499-1121. Campbell Security Group, because safeguarding your world requires more than watchful eyes. It demands proven action.
Tommy, they have a lot of vehicles at Campbell Security Group. If they need repair, where are they heading to?
I'll tell you what, when your car needs real attention, brakes, diagnostic, tires, or full service, you want a shop you can trust. That's Fairway Automotive. 5 locations across the St. Louis area, all family run, all built on honest work and quality repair. Their certified techs don't guess. They diagnose, fix it right, and keep you safely on the road. Fairway backs every job with integrity and a hometown service that's harder to find these days. Visit fairwayautomotive.com to book your next appointment. Fairway Automotive, where it's not just done the right way, it's done the fair way.
Right.
And his company, Law Enforcement Today, has grown since he's taken it over. You'll hear the story. And just their outreach is over 5 million, I believe. But it was it's great to have him on, and you'll hear how we got him on and that whole story. And we will be back, and you want to come back when we come back. We got the hoodlum. John's going to tell us a story about the hoodlum priest. We got the tale of 2 dicks.
Not related stories.
Right. We got the tale of 2 dicks. We got Super Bowl predictions. We've got a story that broke out of Wash U that a previous guest is very big in, and we're going to talk about the Miracle on Ice. So
Great show.
stay tuned, and we'll be right back with all that after our interview with Kyle Reyes. Enjoy. Welcome to our interview with Kyle Reyes. And a lot of people may not know who Kyle is, as most of our audience is from St. Louis and other places. But Kyle is a nationally recognized supporter of law enforcement to a level that is, and you're going to hear about it, it's just impressive. And he started out and still is the CEO of the Silent Partner Marketing. It's a national media firm. And but what Kyle is here for is he's on the same mission as our podcast. And we were told about Kyle from one of JJ's friends in Canada. And we're kind of proud to have Kyle on, because Kyle is our first guest that we had to go through people to get on the show. We had to go through a couple of Kyle's assistants. JJ was back and forth with him. And but Kyle looked at what we were doing, and we have the same mission. And we're just a little smaller than Kyle, as you're going to hear as we go forward. But Kyle is also the owner and the national spokesman for Law Enforcement Today. And that is the largest pro-law enforcement digital platform in the country. He leads the network, and the network tells, just like we do, they tell police stories about, the good things police will do, the fallen officers. And what they really attack, and Kyle really attacks, is the issues that impact public safety nationwide. And he goes around speaking on those. He works closely with the officers and the departments and the families to tell stories behind the scenes. Just like we do on this podcast, where we'll bring people on and you'll hear stuff that you don't hear from mainstream media. And Kyle has, over the years, by what he took on a job, which I found impressive as you're doing the homework on Kyle, is he was a very successful person doing what he was doing. But then he takes what he was doing and then jumps in,
Right.
and he's into marketing. The hardest people to market for probably in the nation is our law enforcement people. And we've seen the battles, and Kyle's got great, he's all over the nation. So we're going to get into some of those stories. But he's also made a lot of people mad, so we'll get into that. And so that's always fun to talk about. He's a frequent speaker throughout the country on policing, culture, and public safety issues. And lastly, in 2024, and here's the most interesting part, Kyle's never been in law enforcement. He's never been a police officer, and we'll hear why, or we'll hear how he did. But in 2024, he was inducted into the National Law Enforcement Hall of Fame as a civilian advocate for law enforcement.
Good job, Kyle.
That's the only thing I
work.
really knew about you until I started researching you.
But welcome to the show, Kyle.
Man, I think that committee got really drunk before they made that. I don't know what they were thinking. Guys, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. I love the show. I love what you guys are doing. I love the voice. And I love the fact that it's finally, once again, socially acceptable for people to stand up and declare enough is enough, and to push back against the false narrative that really took a foothold in society for about 4 years.
We were actually, I'm sorry. We were actually, Ferguson is right outside of St. Louis, and I was involved in all the protests and stuff, and that was really, we thought, the kickoff to the defund the police and all that thing. So unfortunately, it sort of started in St. Louis, all the negativity towards police.
No doubt. And it continued to grow from there. I think you're right. I think that there was really a turning point. If you look back in the last 2 decades, I had a buddy of mine who was on the front line in Ferguson during all the riots, and he was an Iraq war veteran. And he left after that because he said he got hit in the head with a bottle of urine, and he brought up his rifle and he almost opened fire because in that moment he was back in Fallujah. Or wherever he had been. And so he said that's when he realized that he couldn't do it anymore, that was his turning point. And I've heard that, a million times over. Portland, Oregon, Seattle, LA, New York, Chicago. We have true war zones in America right now, and people just don't want to acknowledge it. But as General Mattis once said, before he became a socialist and kind of broke all of our hearts, was that, the enemy gets a vote in war, right? And when that war is done. And if we don't acknowledge what's happening in society, we're not going to win the fight. And I hate even using the terms war and fight, but that's kind of where we are. When there's a war that's been declared on law enforcement, it's no different than when things shifted between Obama and Trump, and then Trump and Biden in terms of rules of engagement overseas. When you are hamstrung and officers' hands are tied and they're getting radical liberal judges ruling that they can't use things like less lethal munition to control a crowd that's violently attacking them, we're hitting a very scary point in society. And if things are this bad in Minnesota right now in sub-zero weather, this summer is going to be extremely scary.
Yeah, and we'll get to some of that stuff in Minnesota down the road here. But the first thing I wanted to get to is Kyle, like I mentioned, you're not a police officer. You're never a police officer or a sworn-in police officer. Was there something that happened along the way that got you into the passion of supporting the police? Was there an incident or something?
Yeah, man. So growing up, I was super fat, like really fat. Never been to the gym a day in my life. Kids were doing sports. I was like competitive eating donuts for fun. That was about it. And so I worked in TV for years. I was a producer of news and special projects. And the last 3 years that I was in TV, I worked for NBC. And I got sent out to St. Petersburg, Florida. I was in the People's Republic of Connecticut, and I had an all-expense-paid trip out to St. Petersburg to do this course in, it was called Diversified Storytelling or something to that effect. And it was at the Poynter Institute, which you'll realize the irony of this later, but the Poynter Institute now owns PolitiFact, which is one of the fact checkers. And they were putting us through this course in how to tell stories of underrepresented communities. My last name is Reyes, Puerto Rican, although I'm being accused of being a racist for believing that there's a difference between legal and illegal immigration. But we'll probably get into that later. And so they were teaching, this is when I realized what was happening. They were teaching us how to take 7 seconds of body and dash cam footage and manipulate it to make it look like the officer was guilty, even when they weren't. And the moment that I realized that they had manipulated a piece of body cam footage to make it look like a white officer murdered an unarmed black man by shooting him in the back, and then seeing the truth of what happened that wasn't released in the body cam footage, which was the seconds before he got shot, there's a 300-pound, 6'6" black man high on PCP with a butcher knife running at him with the knife above his head. And in the last second, he turns and drops the knife, but things are already in motion. And any members of your audience who have never gone through like a 3D simulator training, Virtua, anything like that, I would encourage them to do it if they ever have the opportunity. Because when I went through that training program or the testing program, I killed everybody, man. Like pregnant women, kids, black people, white people, Chinese, everybody died. Because there's science between how quickly something goes from here to here when everything's already in motion. And so when I realized that we were being trained in how to manipulate people, I was like, man, this isn't why I got in it. My uncle was a cop. My cousin was a cop. A lot of my friends were in law enforcement. And I realized that I was part of the problem. I was young. I was in my 20s, and I vowed that one day I was going to fix all of that. Pretty pompous, egotistical, narcissistic thing for a dude in his young 20s to be like, one day I'm going to fix all the news, right? And now flash forward, God opened up a whole bunch of doors and put us on this path. And now we own the largest police news outlet in the world. It falls under the 1776 Project. We own Law Enforcement Today, Blue Lives Matter, Police Tribune, Law Enforcement Family, Law Enforcement for Life, a whole bunch of others. About 5 million followers. January was our biggest month ever in terms of impressions. We made over 150 million impressions. Wow.
Do you want to add a podcast to that? The Brighter Side of Blue?
Bring it, man. Bring it. Although I just want to know what's really in those cups, because if it's what I'm hoping is in
well, we ain't giving that up. If that's a part of the if that's a part of the contract, Kyle, we're out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Milko. They told us to stop. Yes, it is. But we were told to stop doing bourbon because our show went south.
Yeah.
After we started doing bourbon shots, but Uber loved us. Uber still loves us, but we didn't.
Mick Ultra. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't just switch over to wine coolers. Jeez.
Oh boy,
man.
We're off to a good start. I like it.
Off to a great start.
You bust.
We are in St. Louis. Remember, the brewery's here, Anheuser-Busch.
But Kyle, did you have any idea when so you're doing your own thing in the media, and then you decide to jump in with law enforcement today and go after this thing? Did you ever think it would get this big?
No, I had no idea. So
just tell everybody how big you are. I mean, and when I say big, I mean just the followers and the networks you have.
We were talking about a couple weeks ago.
That reminds me of the. Hold on, I got to go off on this story with the Super Bowls this week, and they were interviewing Mike Vrabel, and Vrabel had made the statement way before. He says, "I'd cut off my dick if we win the Super Bowl."
Oh yeah.
And so they were asking him. They asked him recently. They're like, "Hey, you've been asked that question." He goes, "Yeah, I got asked." And he goes, "What's your answer now?" He goes, "How about half? We'll leave her 6 inches." So I don't even know where we were, Kyle, but no, I'd like you to just explain your platform and how you've grown it and what it involves today.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm trying to be a cop. I would never want to be a cop. I would never want to do what you guys do. But I think so let's back up a step. So I left TV. I started a marketing agency. I worked a full-time job in the meantime. I spent the first 3 years kind of screwing up. I knew how to market. I knew how to storytell. I didn't know a thing about running business. So I started hiring people who were smarter than me. Finally, things blew up. Flash forward, I ended up being contacted by the owner. So my marketing firm went crazy viral in 2017 for our hiring process. Fox News called it the snowflake test. It was 30 questions, short answer, essay style, to make sure that we didn't hire whining entitled snowflakes. So it was question, and like for context, guys, we did the first week, I did 14 appearances on Fox and Friends First, Varney and Company, Kennedy, Louder with Crowder, Adam Carolla.
Wow.
We got 40,000 emails in 1 week, 10,000 job applications. I had 3 job openings, so that was pretty wild. But we
that interview process.
Yeah.
Man, it was great. So some of the questions were like, how do you feel about the police? How do you feel about guns? When was the last time you cried and why? What's your favorite adult beverage? My favorite was, you're sitting in Starbucks having a cup of coffee. Someone runs in, hands you a gun, and says in 30 seconds, someone's going to come in and start shooting. What happens next? Well, it's a trick question. Real Americans don't drink Starbucks. And so this test's been crazy.
There goes a sponsor.
That's okay.
It's going to be great.
F them.
This is going to be great, dude.
So go ahead.
We ended up starting a campaign to donate. It was going to be $500,000 in services to tell the stories behind the uniforms. And the first video that we did got 3 million views in 24 hours. It was called The Holiday Prayer. It was up in Manchester, Connecticut, with the Manchester Police and Fire Departments. And I mean, the thing went nuts. So I got the chiefs on Fox and Friends. They said, who made this video? So the chiefs talked about us, and Ainsley Earnhardt was, asking all sorts of questions. So you would think that it would be great exposure. Well, Antifa found out about it and flooded us with hundreds of fake 1-star reviews. So at that point, I had like 80, 90,000 followers on my public figure page. So my management team, we're small at that point. They said, what are we going to do? I said, there's really only one thing we can do. We're getting slaughtered right now. They said, we're going to kill the campaign. I was like, oh, screw that. We're going to double the donation and tell them all to kiss our American asses. And so I instructed my team to go respond to the fake reviews by trolling the reviewers and just like going right after their throats, and then taking screenshots and posting it on my public figure page. Well, we ended up then getting over 1,500 5-star reviews. And that's how the West was won. But the owner of Law Enforcement Today contacted me and said, hey, talk to me about this campaign. So I talked to him about it. He goes, I think I can help you with some exposure. I said, well, who are you? What do you do? He was in his 36th year of law enforcement at that point. He said, I own this thing called Law Enforcement Today. I said, what's your reach like? He goes, how the hell should I know? I said, I thought you own it. He goes, yeah, but dude, I'm a cop. I have no idea what I'm doing. I was
Kind of like us.
I was like, all right, man, cool. Can I take a look at the back end? He goes, you going to break anything? I said, no. So I go in, I said, bro, you're reaching 25 million people a month. He was like, is that good? I was like, yeah, that's good. He goes, you think we can do something with that? I said, yeah, man, we can do a lot of something with that. So he asked me to be his national spokesman. I said, I'm not a cop. He goes, right, that's why it's perfect. I'm like, I'm not tracking you. He goes, you can run your mouth and no agency can fire you. And I was like, roger that. So started doing that. 2019 took over as executive director. 2020, when the world went, crazy, everything turned upside down. Our numbers went even more radical. And then we took a massive hit because we reported on the Hunter Biden laptop. Our numbers disappeared overnight. I mean, when I say disappeared, everything collapsed. And so shortly after, the founder said, I'm out. I'm going to shut this down. We're just bleeding money in it. I'm like, well, I didn't get into this. I haven't made any money since day one with this. So, no skin off my back, but who's going to still preserve this voice? And he was like, I want to finish my time in law enforcement. I want to sail the world and be drunk on cruise ships. I was like, all right, well, let me buy it.
That's a good play.
Yeah, man. So I ended up buying it. And then 2 days later, I was contacted by the owner of Blue Lives Matter. And they said, hey, would you be interested in acquiring us? And there were a series of acquisitions. So we rolled it all together. And I said, man, because I've never been a cop, I wanted to make sure that we stayed authentic to the voice, to truly representing the right way. And so I put together a board of advisors. That's the heads of the largest police groups in the country. Everybody from the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association to Concerns of Police Survivors, National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial Fund, FOP, National Border Patrol Council, TMPA, blah, 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 blah. Just to make sure that we were doing this the right way. God is the CEO of all of our companies, period. And so we run our companies with biblical conservative values. We'll never waver on that. And it's really as a result of that, and as a result of walking in obedience, we are doing a tremendous amount of work with the White House now. And so that's kind of where we are. It's a God thing. We screw up, man. We get stuff wrong. We're going to get stuff wrong, and I want people to call us on it when we do. We had people, especially back in 2020, they were like, man, you should just not talk about political things because law enforcement can't be political. I'm like, well, that's exactly why we have to, because we have to be the voice that you guys can't be. They were like, no, we don't want to get involved in politics. I'm like, I'm not asking you to be involved in politics, but guess what? You are. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, you show me one thing that touches policing that is not political in nature. Well, ICE, the border crisis, the opioid crisis, Supreme Court issues, fraud investigations. Like, what is something that's covered by law enforcement that isn't at its core political or used politically by both parties? It's not a Democrat or Republican thing, man. This is right versus wrong. Like, we have biblical principle, constitutional values, period. And so if we don't have those conversations, the mainstream media is going to have them in ways that do not benefit the law enforcement community at all.
In your opinion, let's say, and when I came on in 1988, there was not this, the political parties were not using the police as a pawn in either
Sure.
way. Everybody was, hey, the police are fine, let them booze and eat donuts, just leave them alone, call them when you need them. When did that change? When did it change?
Social media. It's not a time, right? It's not a president. It's not a certain Congress. It's social media. Growing up, you guys are probably the same as me, where you were taught, like, you don't talk about money, politics, and religion at the dinner table.
Right.
Now you wake up and you grab your freaking phone, and that's all you do immediately. It's your identity. And so social media, while in many ways being a tremendous blessing and an opportunity to grow our voice and connect with people, like, people don't have high school reunions anymore because we don't want to see the people, because we see that Joey is a freaking vegan Sanders supporter, and if I see him face to face, I don't want to punch him in the face. Like, social media has ruined everything. Social media has divided us tremendously. So I think that is a huge component of it, because social media, whether the mainstream media wants to acknowledge it or not, is what drives the mainstream media. That it's ruined everything.
One of our mantra here, we end every show with communities that support law enforcement are safer places to live. In a lot of big cities, their chiefs are appointed, and then some of the other sheriffs are elected. Do you see a difference in those areas that use different ways of naming the head of their law enforcement?
1,000,000%, man. Look at Art Acevedo, right? That dude, I'm sorry because some of your people probably like him. He is a political hack in uniform that couldn't make it in any agency where he was a police chief. And so now what's he doing? He's a CNN commentator with the most liberal media bastion you could ever find. You have, you've got these DEI hires in areas like New Orleans. Listen, New Orleans chief, very sweet, does not belong in that position. And when you have things like the terror attack on New Year's Eve, and not being able to answer very, very simple questions, but you also have the same problem with some sheriffs in very, very blue areas. And so where you'll have an appointed police chief in a liberal city that is more interested in ultimately their own political career down the road, you have the same problem in very, very blue areas with blue sheriffs as well. Now, the nice thing about a sheriff is that they can be voted out, right? It's a much harder process in blue cities. And so I'll tell you, man, our marketing agency did a lot of work with the Portland Police Union up in Oregon during the riots of 2020. The Portland officers, I know they're getting beat up left and right. They are amazing men and women, absolutely amazing. Their police chief right now is a pretty conservative dude. And that dude, even though he was appointed by, and they're not, like, it's not Democrats in Portland, Oregon. They are like far, far left communists, and then people who desperately want out of the city. And so it's a very different environment up there. The whole defund the police movement is nothing compared to what these guys were pushing for. Like they want to abolish police there and in Seattle. That chief's got his hands full because he has to balance wanting to protect his officers and wanting to protect his community with also wanting to protect the position, not just to be able to provide for his own family, but because if he's not in there, who is going to be in there? Who's going to be tapped in that's not going to back the officers? And so politics have created a very interesting and in some cases scary dynamic based on whether we're talking about politically appointed chiefs or politically elected sheriffs.
Yeah.
JJ, you got anything?
Oh shit! That was actually, recruiting is a big problem in every department in the country, and we in St. Louis we are hurting for police officers bad, and most departments are. Have you seen any departments that are doing anything different? They're doing a better job than others recruiting officers to come in. That's why we started this podcast, to show the camaraderie that policemen, the camaraderie we have and the fun that we have. And they once said that the professional athletes, when they leave being a professional athlete, they don't miss the game, they miss the locker room. And this policing is the closest thing to professional athletes, the locker room stuff. And that's what everybody misses when they leave policing or when they leave a professional sports, the locker room. Is anybody doing a better job than others recruiting? Because we need recruitment bad in the city of St. Louis.
Yeah, man. So Florida is crushing it, right? Like we moved out to Florida. The FDLE commissioner, Mark Glass, is an incredible human being. You actually have the support for law enforcement from elected officials, from people in the community. People in Florida love law enforcement. And so it's way easier to fill those open positions. And there are more positions because there's more funding for law enforcement. But we have to take a step back, probably 10 years, to understand where this crisis began. And this crisis began from the fact that cops are really shitty storytellers. Am I allowed to say that word?
Sure.
Hey, we've all testified in court and heard them.
The worst, man. And listen, I love you guys to death. But when years ago, when TikTok started becoming a thing and that dancing cop went crazy viral and got 10 million views, I am surprised that dude wasn't beat behind the dumpster by his own guys because he got ragged on so bad by cops. And I get it, right? Like he kind of looked a little bit like a doofus. However, there's a reason he got 10 million views. And it's because the community loved him, ate it up because cops aren't doing that at scale. And so when the entire narrative is built around how bad cops are, and then you have a culture that says, if you're going to do something outside the norm and you're going to do something positive and put that content out there and you're going to get 10 million views, well, we're going to make your life miserable and treat you like an idiot because you look like a fool. And so we have created this culture in law enforcement where instead of understanding and embracing what the community wants, we just beat the hell out of guys that do actually get it. And I think that there's a fine line between the community policing, which I think is crucial and absolutely has a role, and turning every cop into a teddy bear, right? Like we can't have that either. You need warriors and you need gentle giants. Like I love the King David analogy, right? Because King David was a warrior. Like that dude was a savage beast. Not only did he kill Goliath, but I mean, he also had his own best friend killed. He was an idiot for that. That's a different story. But King David also wrote poetry and played the harp. There was a time and a place for him to be a gentle man and a strong leader. And there was a time for him to be a warrior. And we don't know that dividing line in law enforcement. And then I actually really believe that the whole the COVID vaccine mandates, I actually think that was phase 2 of the defund the police movement, because what we saw were tens of thousands of good veteran cops across the country that said, you know what, screw it, I'm out, I'm done. And so the guys that they couldn't push out through the defund the police movement, they got a lot of them out through the vaccine mandate. And so, if we look at this as I've done a lot of research. General Flynn's a really good friend of mine on 5th generation warfare and how you destroy a country using unrestricted warfare. That's not your standard traditional, like go in, boom, 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 everybody's dead. but rather how you destroy a society by breaking apart culture first. And I think that the war on law enforcement has gone all the way down to that level where they're trying to destroy the culture. I can't tell you how many guys, I'm sure you've seen this. You've probably felt this way, where you're less afraid of the person on the street than you are of your own guy who you've worked with for 10 years stabbing you in the back to protect his own hide. Or administration, maybe not in your agency, hopefully, but administration that will hang their own guys out to dry and not have their backs. So I'll give you an example of a positive one, though. So you had Magnus was the just piece of garbage police chief in Tucson, Arizona. Like his third day, he was on the front line of a Black Lives Matter rally, holding a Black Lives Matter sign, standing there in uniform with his husband. Well, that dude didn't make it very long. Well, he made it, I think he was there for a couple of years, destroyed the morale. Absolutely destroyed. I have a lot of friends in Tucson PD. Destroyed it. Well, he ended up getting appointed by Biden to some border position. He lasted like 7 minutes and then he was gone. But the chief that's in there now is an amazing guy. Long time. I think he's been there for 25 years, rides in the Unity tour. Amazing dude. And his focus has been, how do I transform the culture? So they give all of their officers an hour a day to work out and to exercise. They encourage these guys to be part of the Unity tour. They encourage mental health initiatives and programs. It's not the old school, like, hey, just suck it up, buttercup, like no crying. You had an OIS, big deal, move on. Like they actually really give a shit about their cops. And until we start seeing a shift towards that, and towards actually supporting at the administrative level, the brass supporting the guys on the ground, we're not going to see the positive movement that we need. And I also brought up, guys, in 2020, I did a piece with Epoch Times, spectacular conservative media outlet. It was me and Grossman. And we talked about the shift of like defund the police and what that leads to. I made the analogy that if, let's say it's 2013, and all of a sudden we have a skyrocketing number of people who are dying of heart attacks and all sorts of cardiac events, is your reaction going to go, well, obviously cardiothoracic surgeons suck, so let's get rid of them, and let's take all the cardiologists and let's reduce the number of them and get rid of their training? No, you're going to look at it, and if you buy into the concept that there's a problem, you're going to get to the root of the problem. And you're going to say, you know what, maybe these dudes need more training. Maybe they need more backing. Maybe we need more of them to spend more attention with the community. And so the idea that we're going to remove officers and reduce training and spread them further was completely counterintuitive to what was happening. And then we saw, as a result, we couldn't hire anybody. So you had agencies start relaxing hiring standards. And certain cities, I'm not going to call them out, like Los Angeles or Connecticut or New Orleans, started reducing the standards to the point where you could have a previous criminal record or gang activity. And now you're in there. And how did that work out in, I think it was Louisiana? It was like 6 cops that killed that dude. They were like 6 black cops that beat him and killed him. And there was a previous beef there and everything. And it turned out that those guys had gang activity in their backgrounds. Like, this is what happens. But this is not rocket science. You don't have to be brilliant. You don't have to work in law enforcement to see what happens when you defund the police, when you reduce hiring standards, when you destroy morale, and when you have people convinced that becoming a cop is the stupidest thing you could do because, oh, guess what? We're going to be like Virginia now and remove qualified immunity and just hang all these guys out to dry.
I love
Sorry.
It. Oh, hey, dude.
You got it down, Kyle. That's for sure.
Kyle, and you said something earlier, and it's so true, is that, the appointed chiefs, obviously they can't say anything, right? Because if you're appointed, you can be unappointed very, very quickly, whether they be appointed by mayors or however that process goes. Yep. And and then when you're on the street, if you're in JJ's position, and we kind of dodge around certain things here and there. That's why you're refreshing to us, is because we don't go out of our way to hit some of this stuff head on. And I find you very, very refreshing for a show because you're saying the stuff that a lot of people want to say. All of us want to say that. And I also want to go to another point you made, is that you were saying that, about how people see us as police officers with a uniform on. You have to act a certain way when you have a uniform on. You can't show up with a big old smile on your face, patting people on the back, all lovey-dovey. You have to have a sense of command. You have to look good. You have to, and that's how people see policemen. What we do, and what you're trying to do, is humanize these police officers and show you there's another side to these guys. That there's another side to these girls. But when you're at work, you can't show that side because it's not. That's just part of the thing. And I just want to thank you for doing that. But I'm sorry, that was my little tirade. Do you agree with that, Jack?
Totally. And Kyle, I was to echo what Tommy just said. I appreciate you. I appreciate the message that you're trying to get out there and are getting out there. So great work, man. I appreciate it. I do want to, if you could elaborate on one thing. You said that earlier that you're working with the White House or doing stuff for the White House. Could you elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Yeah, so our marketing agency runs all of the marketing and public relations for the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association. They represent about 140,000, every federal agent worldwide based out of the U.S. So CIA, Secret Service, DOJ, FBI, Border Patrol, 65 agencies. So they have 35,000 dues-paying members, like I said, about 140,000 federal agents. We did a lot of work. My marketing agency did a lot of work to support Trump's initiatives in his first term. And we did a lot of that stuff under the radar. And then we endorsed Trump in 2016. We endorsed him again in 2020. We endorsed him in 2024. I'll endorse him in 2028 and 2032.
Here we go.
Here
we go. Kyle had to just throw it, just toss it, just lob it a grenade, just piss people off.
Sorry to ask a question.
But no, so we believe in law and order. Period. That's it. And I am a conservative because I have biblical values that align with that are conservative values, right? I think that there are a lot of idiots who are Republicans who, quite frankly, shouldn't be anywhere near office. So it's being an idiot it's not restricted to just one party.
That's it. That's a uniparty.
But so we put on the Big Blue Bash at Mar-a-Lago on Veterans Day this past year. It was absolutely incredible. We invited the heads of all the federal agencies out there. We did it as a fundraiser for Fleo's Foundation, which takes care of the families of wounded and fallen officers. I have been to many events at Mar-a-Lago. I've drank at many events at Mar-a-Lago. I get paid to speak at many events. I have never run an event in my life. And so I felt like God was like, hey, I'm going to open up this door and just go do it. I was like, I can run an event. Like, how hard can it be? Oh my God, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. Especially considering we signed the contract for the November event on June 1st of last year. Now, nobody told me that, first of all, it takes over a year to plan a gala. Second, nobody does their first gala at Mar-a-Lago, period. That's like the Super Bowl of events. And your first three events for nonprofits at Mar-a-Lago, you tend to lose a lot of money. And nobody told me that. So I said to the foundation, hey, let's do this. We're going to go raise you a whole bunch of money. And they were like, oh, that sounds really expensive. I'm like, don't worry, everything will be fine. I'm like, I guarantee you the foundation won't lose any money. They're like, well, what if we do? I'm like, I'll cover all the losses and I'll stroke you a check for $10,000. They were like, okay, we're in. I mean, they had nothing to lose. Well, that was a really terrible idea because, again, I had no idea how to run an event. I also didn't know that it was going to cost us $2 million to put on an event. Ooh.
Wow.
So I think it's important to share this story with you. This isn't something that I've been very public about, but I think it's really important. So we invite all the heads of these federal agencies, right? And in my mind, this is a no-brainer. It's a freaking Trump's house. It's smart to do it there because even though this was a non-political, nonpartisan event for a 501c3, we're inviting the heads of the federal agencies. How else do you secure that location? like, let's spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on security. Well, at Mar-a-Lago, Secret Service runs all of the security, so you don't have to worry about that. So we send out all the letters, we send out the opportunities for sponsorship, we open up the ticket sales, and I'm like, let's go. Like, God put us on this path. Let's see what happens. And nothing happened, actually, at all. Just the opposite. We entered into the shutdown. We're coming up on the shutdown. And all of these agency heads were like, can't come. Sorry, would love. Can't come. And then all of these sponsors that we thought were going to be sponsors were like, it's at Mar-a-Lago. We can't have anything to do with that. It's too political. We're like, but it's not political. They're like, no, the optics are bad and the government shut down. And then tickets were not selling at all. $5,000 a ticket starting price, which is typical for Mar-a-Lago. And so I was on the brink of a panic attack because we're like 60 days out. So I call up General Flynn. I said, General, this isn't good. And he said, no, don't worry. 80% of your tickets are going to sell 2 to 3 weeks before. I was like, that's a terrible business model. He was like, welcome to the space. So then I call up, we had some tickets sold, but I mean, we were contracted. We had to do a minimum of 400 tickets. We were paying for 400 regardless. So I call up a good friend of mine. His name's Robbie. He's with Pray.com, the largest faith-based app in the world. Former pastor, had a horrific traumatic brain injury, almost died. And so he's like, how's it going with the event, man? This thing's going to be amazing. I said, Robbie, it's not going well. So I kind of bring him up to speed. And he said, all right, did you ever stop and think that maybe this event's not supposed to be successful? Did you ever stop and think that maybe you're not supposed to make money for the foundation with it? And I was like, no, why the hell would I do an event if we weren't going to be successful, or if we went into it not expecting to raise money for the foundation? He goes, did you ever stop and think that maybe this entire event is for one person to hear about God in a meaningful way for the first time in their lives? And maybe you already sold that ticket. And I was like, that's a tough pill to swallow, dude, when you're looking.
It's deep, but I also got some money involved here, dude. I appreciate the deepness, but there's some cash involved here.
But I had to get that gut check, right? And so the next day I'm at the gym, and I either lift heavy or I run hard. I don't do them on the same day. And I ended up lifting real heavy, just angry lifting, for an hour and a half. And I'm listening to worship music, right? Just like, all right, God, you gotta, like, you put me into this mess, you gotta pull me out of it. Tell me what to do. And then I finish, I'm still full of piss and vinegar. And so I get on the treadmill, I'm sprinting, and I'm kind of like yelling at God. And I said, just tell me what to do. Whatever you tell me to do, that's what I'm going to do, because I'm out, man. I got no other options. I'm screwed. I can't do this myself. I need your help. And I put on my Bible app. And the next story I'm going to take creative license with this story. Okay, so forgive me. The next story that comes on, literally, I hit play on my phone, and it's a story about how this guy says to his servants, hey, I'm going to throw a big-ass party. It doesn't use the word ass in that context in the Bible. It's more with the donkey. But anyway, again, creative license.
He dropped the F word in the Bible.
He says, go invite all my friends. And they come back and they're like, yeah, listen, they're not coming. He's like, what do you mean my friends aren't coming? He's like, Joey just got married. Joey's going to be out of town partying. And Mike just bought a bunch of oxen and he's trying to ford the river with them. And then, and all of his friends. He said, my own friends aren't coming to the party. And so he wants to go back to them? No, go invite everybody that would normally not get an invite to this party and tell them about it and invite them to come. So the servants come back and they said, hey, dude, like, they're all coming, but you still got a lot of seats at this place. You want us to go back to those friends? And he said, those friends don't deserve the crumbs from this party. I want you to go invite the people who could never come to something like this. Invite the poor, invite the homeless. Sorry, you still
We're all
there?
checking our phones.
I checked my pocket.
You're good.
That was me. I'm sorry.
You're all good.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm the worst amateur hour
Oh
over here.
And we're
no!
not
That
gonna-
is like if we could only go through our bloopers over the
And we're
2
not
years.
cutting that out either.
So he basically says, go back to all of them, or go to these other people, the poor, the homeless, and everybody, and invite all of them. And so as soon as I heard that, man, it was like a punch in the gut. I almost fell off the treadmill. And I was like, God, what are you telling me?
Wait a minute.
What happened?
We lost your sound. We can't hear you. Is that us or him?
We lost your
Can you-
sound, Kyle.
It's not us.
How about now?
Now we're
There
good.
you go.
Now we're good.
Good.
Now
There
we're
you
good.
go.
JJ, sit back
We're back?
down. Now we will cut that
Sorry.
out.
Okay, good. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go
so
ahead.
So I said, God, are you telling me I'm supposed to just give away these tickets? And I felt like he said, yeah. And so first call that I made was to a buddy of mine, Houston Gas, 12-gauge shotgun blast to the face while on duty. Survived. Went back onto the job. Called him up. Hey, Houston, you hear about this gala we're doing at Mar-a-Lago? Yeah, man, I did. You want to go with Jessica, your wife? Bro, you never in a million years afford to go to a $5,000 a seat gala. I said, yeah, we got someone who picked up your tickets for you. And guy just loses it. Just an amazing human. Make a bunch of calls like that, and I'm feeling really good because I've got everybody crying on the phone, and I'm feeling pretty awesome, right? And then it hit me like, you have to pay for this thing. What are we going to do? Now, I don't know if you know this, but back in medieval times, when knights would get baptized, they would fully submerge underwater except for their sword. They would hold their sword out of the water, and that was their way of saying, God, you get all of this, right? I still got the fight. The fight's mine. And it wasn't until I dropped that sword and just fully surrendered and said, okay, God, you tell me what to do, and I'm all in. I'm just going to listen. I know you got a plan, and so I'm just going to walk in obedience on it. 3 days later, we start getting the heads of federal agencies saying, hey, I got cleared. I'm coming. We started getting sponsors calling up. Hey, is that title sponsorship still open? Hey, is that sponsorship, that $250,000 sponsorship, is that still available? Yeah, we'll take that. Can we buy some tables too? We started getting companies that said no, that said we can't be there because of the optics of being there during the shutdown, but we would like to buy some tables for you to give away the tickets to the officers. And then tickets started flying. And
That's
so
cool.
at 600, we were contracted for 400. At 610, we had to turn off the spigot because it was going to be one of the largest events Mar-a-Lago had ever had. We ended up raising a whole bunch of money for the foundation. We had Secretary Noem was there, Border Czar Tom Homan, ICE Director Todd Lyons, Secret Service Director Sean Curran, Border Patrol Chief Michael Banks, Victor Avila, Drug Czar Sarah Carter, on and on and on. Patrick Bet-David, Carl Higby, Nick Freitas, Aaron Lewis from Stain came and performed. But what was super important was that I just weaved Jesus into the entire thing, man. Like, we opened at Mar-a-Lago with worship music. We had Steve Weatherford, who was a punter for the New York Giants, Super Bowl champion. He had become a horrible human being. He had everything, cover a Muscle and Fitness magazine, Men's Health magazine, and everything. Cheated on his wife, just became a horrible person, and then ended up handing over his life to God. And he now travels the world doing mission work and trying to bring men to God. And so he came out, and I said, hey, we give our opening prayer, but first talk for 5 minutes on why God lets bad things happen to good people. Killed it up there. He did a freaking altar call at Mar-a-Lago, like just amazing stuff, some killer presentations, and it was incredibly successful. And so we are using some of the funds from that to go out on the road to tell the stories of federal law enforcement and the families with ICE, DHS writ large, Border Patrol. Todd Lyons, who's the director, is a really close friend of mine. Tom Homan's a really good friend of mine. So they've been amazing. We're doing stuff with DOJ, Secret Service, U.S. Marshal Service, the Drug Czar, DEA, ATF. We're going to be bringing celebrities on ride-alongs with Tom Homan and I. Like Lou Ferrigno is going to come out. Ted Nugent's going to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really cool stuff, man. But that's what happens when you take that sword that you were holding, because everybody has a sword, right? And for some of us, that sword is our wallet. For some of us, that sword is our pride, our ego, our career, our job, our status in society, our house. But until we can drop that sword and say, you know what, man, I can't can't do this alone, but I know a guy. That's the turning point. That was the turning point in our companies. And that's why we're so passionate about making sure that God is the center of everything that we do. Not necessarily always blatantly, at the forefront conversationally and everything, but is really what drives it all.
That's great. That's just a great story. But is Tom Homan as big of a badass as that he comes across as?
Yes.
Dude, Homan is a total badass, but he's
just he just seems like a bad mofo, dude.
But he is also so gentle. And like
Right.
I did an interview a couple of weeks ago, and they asked me the same question, and I compared him to King David too. I was like, dude's a freaking, like, he will slay. He is a true warrior. He is a cop's cop. Like, everybody loves him. He is an animal, and he will eat souls, but he will also hold a child who's crying and cry with them and pray with them.
Nope.
I mean, he's just incredible. So one of the presentations that we did at the gala, we had a family. So we have a show that we do called Sheepdog and Shepherd. It's all about God's hand in law enforcement. And back in September, we had a family come on the show. I'll try not to lose it sharing the story with you. It was a mom and dad and the daughter. The daughter's now 9. So about 2 years ago, she was 7, and the day that she was baptized, it was 3 days before her little sister's 4-year-old birthday. And so they were going to all go out after the baptism to celebrate the birthday and the baptism. So mom had to run an errand to the neighbor first. So Maddie, the 4-year-old, soon to be 4-year-old, Kinsley, the 7-year-old, mom and grandma got in the car. And before they left, Maddie, the 4-year-old, insisted on switching seats with Kinsley, her big sister. Maddie always had the same seat. That day, she would not let them go anywhere until they switched seats. So they switched seats, and they're driving down the road, and Maddie kicks the back of mom's seat, passenger seat, and mom turns around. She goes, "What's up, pumpkin?" And she looks at her, and she goes, "I love you, Mom." She says, "I love you too." And that's the moment that an illegal immigrant slams into the vehicle with his truck, and they are on the side of the road. They're trying to give CPR to the 4-year-old because it was her side that they hit. And the 7-year-old is holding her hand as she dies and just keeps telling her, "I love you." So I have 4 little girls, man.
Right.
I was a mess. It was a very hard interview, and I've become extremely close with the family. So I knew that we had to do something to honor that family. So I called up the founders of Give, Send, Go. I said, "Guys, I need you to buy a table to this gala. It's $50,000. And I need you to give me 4 of those seats to give to somebody." And he was like, "Tell me what we're doing." So I told him. He was like, 100%. So they sponsored the family to come out. This family doesn't have money or anything like that. They started a nonprofit to spread the gospel through the story of Maddie and what happened to her. So called them up and said, "Hey, you guys are you're coming to Mar-a-Lago." And what they didn't know was that we were going to be making Kinsley, the now 9-year-old, the Woman of the Year. And so we put together this unbelievably powerful video. And then we had Tom Homan and ICE Director Lyons join us with the World Boxing Council. We made her a heavyweight belt as the Woman of the Year. And then we had Secretary Noem come up and do a separate presentation to her where Your American Flag Store made this beautiful handcrafted flag with a picture of Maddie and Kinsley on it. And then we ended with this really kick-ass video about ICE. Tom held that girl, man, and just he was on the brink of crying the whole time. And he gave her a pin that President Trump sent to give her and everything. So yeah, he's a beast, but he's also a grandpa, and he's just got the most tender heart, and he's hurt by what's going on. I think that President Trump sending him to Minneapolis was a very good move.
It was
a very, very good move, because cops will work with him and they won't necessarily work with Noem, not because of Noem, but just, you know how cops are sometimes. They want to work with a cop's cop. And so he's
Kyle?
now negotiated. Yeah.
How do you think the Minneapolis police officers are squaring things with not being able to help ICE, fellow law enforcement officers?
I'll tell you, man, I've talked to a lot of those dudes. They're pissed. They are so pissed. You are seeing, you're not seeing attrition yet. You're seeing some attrition. Some guys are actually leaving and going over to ICE. But what you are seeing is the idiot governor passed this Family Leave Act on January 1st that basically gives you a very, very nice fully paid vacation for any reason that you want. And so a lot of the cops are like, yeah, guess what? I'm going to be using that now. And so they're losing big numbers as a result of that. Listen, I'm probably not supposed to say something like this, but I don't really care. That Minneapolis police chief needs to go. He is a disgrace to the uniform. He is an embarrassment to law enforcement. He is nothing more than a political hack who's desperately hoping for some kind of appointment under a future Democrat administration. He's a treasonous individual. And I don't really like him.
I was just gonna say,
That's apparent.
Great
Other
question.
than that, is he all right?
No, hey, I'm still active. And I've had friends that call me and say, what do I think about what's going on? And I said, the biggest travesty is that the Minneapolis Police Department, who could handle this protest professionally, because they've been doing protests like every other major city, they could handle this and it would go away in no time. But for them to have to stand back and do nothing is sickening, and they have to be sick to their stomachs. And I don't blame them. All I want to do a shout out to the Minnesota Police Department. We're hiring in St. Louis, and we will not stand down. We will actually go help ICE if the protests started. So if you want a new job, if you're young enough, come to St. Louis and we'll hire you. That's my plug. That's my promotion.
Chief Joyner.
Word from our sponsors. Looking for a place to unwind, celebrate, or just pull up a seat with a good company and a fine cigar? Head to Riverman Cigar Company, located at 8984 Watson Road. They're not just a cigar shop. They're a premium lounge where craftsmanship meets chill. From Padron to AJ Fernandez, the humidor is stocked. The sonic humidifier with reverse osmosis keeps every stick tasting top tier. Whether you're new to cigars or a seasoned aficionado, they've got events, education, and a cozy spot to kick back. Call 314-843-3355 or check them out online, rivermancigar.com, where quality matters and the vibe's right.
Now, Tom, where does Dan from Riverman Cigar go when he's selling all those cigars at a high price?
Making all the money.
Yeah, making all the money. Where does he go after that?
He should head on out to Avail Professional Services. It's based in St. Louis, but it has reach across Missouri and Illinois. They're experts in tax planning, payroll, bookkeeping, HR support, and they don't stop until you're under control. Whether you're a solo hustler or a growing firm, Avail brings a high-touch service with real-world results. Visit availproserve.com for your free consultation. Avail Professional Services, when every financial detail matters. Go see Dr. Dussold, otherwise known as Marty Bird. Huge supporter of law enforcement. Go see him, Marty.
The Birdman.
Yep.
I like it. I want to ask you one question. We've kept you over an hour, so we'll try to wrap it up. But I could I could sit here till midnight to tell you the truth, guys.
You're good, man. You get me out of having to do bedtime. My wife's in charge of that tonight.
You've been all over the country, heard story, and you've told a couple touching stories already. Is there one story that really, like, when you? I'm sure you get asked all the time, like we do. Hey, you got to. What's your best story? What's your greatest story? Tell us something. Is there something that stuck with you over the years in your travel in the country and supporting law enforcement? That story that stuck with you?
Man, there's so many. I mean, there are funny stories, there are horror stories. I personally interviewed over 1,000 surviving family members of officers killed in the line of duty. Or of severely wounded officers. We have a great relationship with Concerns of Police Survivors, just an incredible organization. And so what always hit me hard were the interviews with the spouses when they have kids that are left behind, right? Like I was interviewing Susan Moody, and Susan over in Northern California, and she was telling me about how she had 3 little girls, and at the time, we have 4 little girls, but we had 3 little girls at the time that were the same ages as her daughters when she got the knock on the door. And when she was telling me how she had to tell her 3 little girls that daddy was never coming home again, dude, that's like, you don't get that out of a TV story. You don't even get that out of a written article or an editorial that we can do on law enforcement today. How do you capture that pain and that heartache and those tears? You can't do it. And so I'm going to be very honest with you guys. When I do those interviews back to back, it's tough. And the only way that I've been able to get through it has been to almost, in that moment, I almost have to fictionalize it, right? Like, I'm just helping write a story. I'm helping tell a story. And so I was doing a series of interviews in Chicago for Concerns of Police Survivors at their national conference. And I came down after the first, 10, 12 interviews, and Diane Bernhardt, total sweetheart, executive director, incredible woman. She said to me, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm good." She was like, "You're a liar." I'm like, "No, I'm good." She was like, "You're going to go downstairs right now and you're going to talk to one of our counselors." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm good. Like, I don't do the whole therapy thing. Like, I don't know if you missed it. I was just helping tell these stories." And she goes, "No, you take a piece of that. Every single one of those stories, that becomes part of you. And either you need to go deal with that now and just talk through it, or you're done doing interviews." And I was kind of pissed at her because I had a job to do. I was there to do that job, and these weren't my stories. Like, how dare I feel that way over someone else's pain, someone else's grief? But then I realized that simply meant just how deep that grief and that pain are for those families. And it's my job to tell those stories, right? And so I don't believe we own these 5 million followers. I believe that God owns all of it, and we're called to be stewards of that audience and to steward it well. And as long as we do that and we use it for the right reasons, I think we'll continue to be blessed with that voice. But there was one moment that I'll never forget, man. So I flew into DC, National Police Week, doing a whole bunch of interviews. Flights delayed, my crew's already there set up. And so they rush me over there like blues to get there on time to do this. And I sit down, and I didn't have time to put up that wall. I didn't even think to put up that wall. I just thought, got to get there on time, get all this stuff done. Biggest mistake I could have made, because the very first interview was a 4 or 5 year old girl. And she says, "I just wish I could tell my uncle one more time how much I love him." And man, that right away, I was like, shit. I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble here because I wasn't ready for this. And then comes her mom. "I just wish I could tell my brother one more time how much I love him." And then the officer's mom, same thing. And then dad sits down, Marlon. Big dude, real big dude. And I could tell he's not doing well. It had been, 4 or 5 months, 6 months. And I could tell he is hurting. And I said, "Hey, brother, how you doing?" He goes, "Not so good." I said, "Tell me about your officer." So he goes, "Well, it was really all God. It was a God thing. And that's why I'm not doing well, but I'm okay with it. And I understand and appreciate what happened." I said, "All right, dude, you gotta walk me through that." He said, "Well, a couple days before my son was killed in the line of duty, my wife and I," he goes, "we didn't have much. We don't come from money. We've always struggled to make ends meet. But right before my son was killed, our house, it caught fire and it burned to the ground." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Oh, no, it's okay. It was God." I was like, "Yeah, okay. Walk me through this." He goes, "Well, we didn't have any money, and the insurance, it takes a while to get that." He goes, "So we were staying at a really dumpy motel." And he goes, you ever hear of a brown recluse spider?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, so I got bit by one in the motel."
Let me guess, it was God.
What I said, I was like, "Well, what?" He goes, "Yeah, it's like a flesh-eating disease." I go, "Okay." He goes, "No, it's okay. It was God." I go, "All right, brother, you got to like shepherd me through this journey." He goes, "Well, when you get bit by something like that, you can literally lose your leg. You lose your life, but it's like a spreading flesh-eating disease." But there was only one hospital that was able to treat him. He goes, "We hadn't seen my son in years and years, not because we had a bad relationship, but because we had no money. We lived 14 hours away from each other. We just couldn't see each other." He goes, "The only hospital that was able to treat me was less than an hour away from where my son was. The day before my son was killed in the line of duty, for the first time in years and years and years, My wife and I got to spend the entire day with my son who came to visit us in the hospital. And I went, that was God. He said, yeah, man, that was God. And so we often don't see or don't understand the big picture. There was Sergeant Carla Miller. She was one of the first officers who actually ran in the door in the Parkland massacre. Incredible warrior. She was the PIO for Coral Springs PD. There's a video clip that we have of her a couple days old in the hospital being rocked by her dad. And that's the only clip or photos that they have, because a couple days later, her dad was killed in the line of duty. And you think, man, this guy was just a wonderful guy. He served his community. He had this family. Like, why would you take him? Why would you take a good man like that? Why does God let bad things happen to good people? And then you begin to realize that Carla and her sister both went on to become police officers because of the loss of the dad, and ended up saving countless lives over the years, including saving the lives of kids in Parkland. How many of those lives are going to have kids and grandkids and great-grandkids? How many generations are going to be fundamentally changed or here today because of the loss of her dad? And so when we take a step back and realize that we live in a fallen and broken world and we'll never fully understand why bad things happen to good people. I don't think God wants bad things happen to good people, but I also think that he uses all of those bad things for glory and for good things and to have a positive impact. And we have to be open to that and be willing to listen and understand and kind of walk in obedience and say, I don't know why this horrible thing happened, but I'm going to use it for good. I'm going to turn it to good. And so those are the stories, man, that just stick with me every single time.
That was powerful, Kyle.
That was crazy. I like your shirt.
JJ says he likes your shirt.
Save, not soft.
I'll tell you,
I couldn't see the lower half until just recently, so I like it.
Yeah, it says, be watchful, stand firm, act like men. I think we have a shortage of men willing to stand up and act like men these days. And I think it's one of the problems why society's gotten so dangerously soft.
100%.
Boy, you just spit out an hour worth of goddamn right.
Hey, you're not supposed to use that name of man.
I shouldn't say it that way, but an hour
just run this thing through AI, man, and you'll have a whole bunch of little reels for YouTube.
And then I can't wait, and I'm hope some of your haters will tune in too, because that was powerful. And then I will say that now, have you found in this media stuff that you really haven't made it until you get haters, correct?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
you can't.
100%.
So we don't have that many haters yet.
Oh, we got more.
We're getting more.
Yeah,
we put out Kyle that we were talking about the officers that got in the accident earlier, right? Before the show, you've heard about them. Well, we just put a picture of the dude that came home and thankful, just like you said, thanks for miracles, blah blah. Wrote up a nice article. We ain't never got so much hate in all our. I mean, all we did was welcome them home. That was it. And all the haters, he should have died, and they should have died, but on the positive side of that, a lot of supporters came in, and you've volunteered to or said that you're going to help too. All the haters, when they chime in, they don't understand that this makes it go more viral. And it brings the people that enjoy that kind of story into the mix too.
Yep.
We got so we launched this thing. I can't talk too much about it because I don't actually know if everything that we've been doing is
we won't tell nobody
totally legal. But it's called Operation Fakeout, and dude, CNN is blowing up my phone. NBC is blowing up my phone. Like, people are pissed. The Daily Mail has left like 14 messages like, we love police, we just want to talk to you. I'm like, you guys are such liars. Like, the internet's forever, right? Like, all it takes is 2 seconds on your website. But what we have done is we've launched when I tell you massive, I can't even begin to explain the scope of just how viral this campaign went, to create a massive psychological operation and disinformation campaign to take all of the report ICE activity hotlines and turn those into weapons against the leftist groups that are trying to dox and attack.
I love it.
all of our law enforcement officers. So, for example, if I were to have my team use this as a force for good, I'm not saying that I did, but one of the things that I might do, I might start simple, right? I might have 5,000 reports plugged into these report ICE activity hotlines with the location of ICE, which happened to be, so they would then send the protesters out to where ICE was, right? But you ever see those giant ICE machines that you open up at the gas station to buy ice? So those
Not the ones you should have got the ones with the quarters that the ice comes out of it when you got to hold the bag at the end.
So that might have been the beginning. But then what we might have done was we might have taken protesters who doxed, I don't know, like the ICE director, who's a good friend of mine, and other people, and doxed his information and his wife and kids' information. I might have found out who those people were if, in theory, this might be something that one would do, and then take the information of those people who were doxing them and plug that information into the report ICE activity hotlines, so that the protesters ended up deploying protesters to the homes of the protesters to protest them. These might be some things that one might do.
We got to get this guy more often, man.
You're my new hero. Can you send me? I want to put your poster in my room.
Go look. You'll have to scroll back the last few weeks. We shared some stuff on the Blue Lives Matter X page that has gotten progressively better and better. So someone found out that I own Blue Lives Matter, and they tried coming after me, which they don't realize. Like, I do this shit for sport. This is fun.
That sounds like
I get all that stuff. And so this guy, he didn't realize that we log all of our phone calls at the marketing agency. He also didn't realize that I own the marketing agency. And so he leaves this voicemail about one of your employees, Kyle Reyes, is a racist, blah, 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 and is trying to ruin people's lives. And you should do something about that. And you should handle that situation. So I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So took that audio clip, right? And we made like a video meme and said that this dude wanted us to handle it. And so we decided that we were going to suspend Kyle with pay and bourbon for a week. But unfortunately, Kyle's got times are tough, and he's got the only phone for our company. So we're hoping that somebody could call this dude back and let him know the decision. And we put his phone number on there and his voice recording and everything. 4 million impressions in 2 days.
Wow.
So Kyle, are you like the main troller, or are some of your people like master trollers too?
No, I'm like the Yoda.
You're like okay, so you're like giving the master classes on trolling. Okay.
I have proteges.
So
Tom Holman, after seeing one of them, Holman called me up and he goes, Kyle, I thought President Trump was the ultimate troll. You're giving that man a run for his money.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. But we don't want to keep you much longer, Kyle. Actually, if you could say that you may be another visit or two with the podcast would be awesome.
Yeah, of course. Of course. But if you're still drinking Mick Ultra, like
that's JJ's
shame
drink.
on you.
I usually drink bourbon.
I'm with you, JJ.
I'm usually really drunk by now.
You got to watch some of the podcasts. We were told to cut it down a little bit, relax on all the drinking. So,
but we would love to work with you. Not here we go. Ricky Ray.
Much better. Because I was going to invite you guys over for steaks, and then I realized that this dude was going to need an Impossible Burger. Well done. I'm really nervous.
I love it. But we would love to work with you in spreading this word. And, like I said, I apologize to you. I didn't know who you were before JJ brought to my attention, and
right.
The word needs to get out there. And we need to work together to get that word out there. And it sounds to me like you need under your media wing a nice podcast platform.
Definitely.
Rider Side of Blue, and we'll go open one up in every city. This is my pitch to you, Kyle. Are you listening? You down with this? We're not even. We don't know. We're in for a very, very fraction. But we think there should be a brighter side of blue in every city with knuckleheads like us telling their city stories to their residents, because it does give another side to police officers, that we're just human beings, that we have fun when we're not around, when we're not in our uniform, when we're expected to be somewhat professional. We do like to cut it up and have a lot of fun, and we did with you tonight, and we couldn't appreciate it more, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
You have quite a story, man.
And
We
if we
appreciate it.
if we mustered up the cash, we may be coming to Police Week. So we're gonna
Yes.
reach out to you if you do and have a bourbon with you and
Or we'll be at Mar-a-Lago with you.
bourbon and what else? What do you?
John,
What's your,
John said to screw it. He wants to go to Mar-a-Lago. He said, screw Police Week.
I've been to Police
Kyle,
Week.
what's your drink? What beer? Do you drink beer or are you a whiskey guy? Are you both?
I'm more. So now I'm going to sound like a liberal, but I kind of like craft beers.
Yeah.
You know,
That's weak.
You got a lot of balls.
Yeah, this is St. Louis.
A lot of balls call me out on ultras,
your
man.
shirt says
No,
not
when I say,
soft.
hang on, gentlemen.
I'm
When I say
fact-checking your
craft beer,
shirt.
I like triple IPA. I'm a triple IPA guy, and there's some pretty good
Yeah,
stuff.
that's like 10%.
All right.
That's true.
All right,
If
again,
I'm gonna have beer, I want alcohol in it. You know.
There you go. All right.
I like
Listen,
it.
That's the way you
Let's.
guys do it.
I think we should tentatively meet, and I think we might be able to muster up the to get to Police Week. Let's just tentatively call that right now.
Whoa.
Cool. Well, and listen, I'll throw this on your plate. We have a house still up in the People's Republic of Connecticut that we're going to be doing a new TV show up there. It's a wounded officer TV show. And so once we firm up all the sponsorships and everything, we're going to be bringing up 6 wounded officers for every episode, a police chaplain, a PTS expert, and bring all these guys on a different adventure experience. So I'd love to have you guys come up and join us, maybe do some filming up there together.
Absolutely.
But listen, I love what you guys are doing. I'd love to set up a kind of an offline call to discuss what a partnership could look like. I think that your voice isn't just crucial for supporters, but I think it's really encouraging for the men and women who are going, man, maybe I don't have to be as silent as I thought I had to be. Maybe there is a way that I could speak up. Maybe there is a way that I could push back. And I think that there's an absolute hunger for it. And I think you guys are doing the Lord's work and keep it up. Just continue to stand firm and act like men and inspire a whole generation of others to do the same.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kyle.
All right, Kyle, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to the future of supporting law enforcement with you. Communities that support law enforcement are safer places to live.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate
Thanks,
it, man.
Kyle.
Good job.
Thanks.
All right, welcome back from that interview. That was a pretty good interview, wasn't it, JJ? JJ set that up.
He was unbelievable. Yes, and I want to thank Wendy Sims from Peel Police Department, who I've known for years.
She's a soccer head, right?
She's a soccer player back in the day. I've known her for years, and she follows the podcast, and she messaged me on Facebook and said, you got to have this guy on. She knew all about him.
She was right.
I've never heard of him before.
Nor have I.
She was right.
She was 100% right.
Thank you.
You know what I really that intrigued me? The guy's never been in a police car.
Right.
He's not a policeman.
Just-
and his passion for what we do and did.
Well, he's off the
It's
chain.
unbelievable.
Smart, great marketing guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
And we've always said, and that's one of the reasons when we started this time, I always said the police are just horrible at marketing themselves.
There you go, Tommy.
Because everybody doesn't, like Kyle mentioned in the interviews, that a lot of times you can't say what you want to say.
Right.
And he, not being in law enforcement, really
Say
helps
anything he
that he
wants.
say anything he wants.
Right.
Well, we've always been counterpunchers. We always wait till something bad happens.
There you go, Johnny.
100%.
And part of the start of this podcast was to bring the good things out, not just wait till something bad happens and try and explain your way out of it. So.
That
Hey.
we do every day. The positive that we
Hey.
do every day.
And I hate to say this part, but Joe Spees, who we had on, I hate to give him credit, but he has said it for years that we are terrible at promoting ourselves, and he's been saying it, and I think now finally,
Finally, as drinks keep
finally got
pouring
drinks here, but
Thanks, Ricky.
But I think finally, police departments and our police department, we're getting ahead of the stories, and I think we learned that from Michael Brown incident. So get ahead of the story, and everything we do now, we get up in front of it, and it makes a huge difference. And Spieth always said, promote the good things.
Right.
I truly hate giving Spieth credit for this, but he said this for years. Let's promote the positive things the police department do, and we do. I think we're getting better at that.
Well, Jimmy, and you know this, and Tommy knows it, and Johnny knows this. All the good that these coppers and we did every day to help people out, but it's the one negative that hits the news, and it's the positives that
Right.
we're forgetting about, and that's how this whole thing got started.
When Kyle
and
told that story about, or where you don't know how many lives you save. As far as a guy you might have locked up, or in the fallout effect from that of how many people may have been saved, or how that changed. You'll never know.
Right.
But
you're right, Tom.
it was a great, and Kyle's just, and we talked to him afterwards, and hopefully we are going to do some more with law enforcement
He's
today.
dynamic.
And he is
Yeah,
dynamic.
he's energized, no doubt.
He knows some people too.
Yeah, he does.
He got people, and then he's got people that screen calls because you were trying to get a hold of him, as we talked about in there. And
Yep.
Kyle's got people. And then we got to him though. We have his email now and everything.
He gave us his phone number.
JJ, his staff got back to you?
His staff.
Right?
That's who I dealt with the entire time.
staff.
Was his staff member.
Right.
And I thought, is this for
Do you
real
have a
or
staff,
something?
Tommy?
But-
I don't have a staff.
But check, you're doing the same with we're trying to get Governor Kehoe on and looking pretty good. You were dealing with his staff the other day, weren't you?
Correct. Yeah. I've got 3 phone calls from the governor's office already.
So Governor Kehoe will be coming on in the future.
It's baby steps. We're getting there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now Grady Judd had people too. His people are not as good as these
Now I'd
guys.
love to have Grady Judd.
I'd love to have him on, but his people, theirs is like, hey. And at the time we were dealing with them, I think we only had like 400, 500 viewers.
We should try again.
I think we might. I think he might have heard of us by now. Well, I doubt it.
Hey,
you never
never
know.
know.
Well, Howard's always done in Florida. Let's just send him up there.
There you go.
Just have him put him on a FaceTime.
Yeah, just get him
Oh yeah.
coming out of a
Is
restaurant.
Howard
or
still in the lobby waiting to come on?
something. He can't figure it out. So he's out this week.
Oh, hold on. This is
I
instead of
set
being an
myself
inside
up.
joke. Instead of everybody thinking this is an inside joke. So here's what happens.
Time for a quick word from our sponsors. Remember, listeners, you can go buy a Ford from many places, but when you buy it from Schicker Ford of St. Louis, you get a car and a family. The service after the sale is second to none. They've been huge supporters of law enforcement for over 60 years. You get the same treatment if you visit Schicker Jeep Chrysler Dodge in Washington, Missouri. So,
When you don't want to bicker about the price on the sticker, head on down to Schicker, where you get the best deal quicker.
Now, where the heck do you bring that car when you first get it?
What I would do is you got to unwind afterwards, and whenever you want to unwind after a shift, buying a car, or just a good night out, you head to Columbo's Cafe and Tavern in Dogtown, St. Louis, where craft brews are on tap. Solid pub grub, a vibe that says real people, real stories. Near the heart of St. Louis, bring your squad or just bring your appetite. Located on Manchester in historic Dogtown, Columbo's is where community roots meet good times. Visit columbosstl.com or drop in tonight. Tell them the brighter side of blues sent you. Columbo's, for people who work hard and play harder. So tonight we did 2 interviews. We did an interview with Kyle that you're going to get coming up. And we did an interview with Chief Chris Neese from the New Haven Police Department.
Which was awesome, too.
Which was
Yeah.
awesome, too. And you'll see that next week. But he talks about the trial of Kenneth Simpson, who was convicted and sentenced to death for the death of
We hope so, yeah.
Mason Griffith.
or about to be. Anyway, but Jay,
I don't know why.
so Danny Howard's in Florida, as you know. We got Tommy sitting in for us. And when we do these videos, anytime we're shooting, we use a StreamYard, a service called StreamYard. And when you sign into it, you sign into a studio. So, like, if you're waiting to come on the show, you're not appearing on the screen, but you're in the back. So, so you're in the lobby, is that what it's called?
I never heard of that.
So,
That's all right.
The
so
lobby.
Danny Howard says, I'm just going to chime in, and I want to listen to you guys. Don't put me on or anything like that. So he chimes in to let John know, but he group texts us. Right. And he just puts, I'm in the lobby. So JJ reads this and goes, where the fuck's he at? He's in the lobby. Is he upstairs?
No.
You did too. You're like, I thought
he was in the lobby of a hotel or something.
Columbus doesn't have a lobby, dude.
I knew he wasn't upstairs. I thought he was in a lobby of a hotel or something. I mean,
Like, I thought he was in
I know where he was.
I thought he was
I
in
back you
Florida.
all the time, brother. But
Oh, don't
you
lie.
thought he was upstairs.
No,
yeah.
Oh my God.
I concur also.
You guys suck.
No doubt.
I brought this
There's
up. I
no
would've-
doubt in my mind that you thought he was upstairs.
No, that's not a lobby upstairs. It's a fuck. He would have came down.
There is a little one when you come to the.
Don't believe everything you hear from these bullshitters, dude. I quit.
Can we get a lobby in our new studio?
Let's play JJ's song "Not to Quit." He almost quit.
It's all BS, though. Don't let the truth get in the way of it.
quitting again.
This is my Zen now?
Yeah, let's go to your Zen. Let's just calm this down a little bit.
Ah, shit.
Oh my God.
All hail.
Danny's up there in the lobby.
I think you guys are so stupid.
Is there a lobby bar up there?
One bad decision can erase 1,000 good ones.
Like a lobby.
Yeah, and for me to bring that up for fun, I should never have.
Like Columbus. had a
One bad
lobby.
decision, which was my decision, can
join
erase
the-
1,000
join the
good
show.
ones. All right.
Classic. That calms things down. That's good. So we got the Super Bowl coming up, people.
Yeah.
And I
You
guess
like
we
the
got
points or no?
the first thing we got to do is make predictions. Who you got winning, Check? Let's start
Straight
with
up,
you,
or are we
Check.
going with the spread?
No, just give me the team to win and the score. We'll see who comes the closest.
Oh,
Oh, shit.
a score. Let's see, 45 and a half. I'm taking Seattle.
All right.
I'll go 25
What the hell are you talking about?
6.
I'm taking.
Hold on. He's
I'm
not
not
done
finished.
yet.
But he's making shit up. He didn't even know about it.
25.
No,
You get 25.
It's 4 and a
He
half.
goes
It's
on
a
to
spread.
25.
45 and a half. Hey,
Okay.
you think Danny's in the lobby?
Yeah.
You're calling
Okay.
me,
Just stop.
You're calling me dumb.
Keep going.
I got Seattle. I'm going to take 40. I'll go 26-23. Seattle.
All right. So you don't have them covering.
No.
All right. Johnny, what do you got?
I like Vrabel. I think New England's going to win 28-24.
All right. JJ?
28-24.
I'm going to tell you what my bet is.
Oh, so you're going right to the bet. Dude, this is what you already
I already
bet.
got a bet on it. So
Well, you didn't. I know you didn't punch a score in on the bet. There's no betting that does that. I want
no.
a score from you, dumbass.
no. I'm just going to say I'm taking Seattle in the over.
Okay.
Oh.
Can you give me
Is-
like how over is it going to go?
Let me tell you
Like
right- this-
it's going to be like 46 to 20.
I think it's 44 and a half.
45 and a half. 45 and a hook.
And the old hook.
The hook will
every
get you.
time.
It'll get you.
When it gets you, it
Every
hurts.
fucking time.
That hook hurts more than any other loss in the whole world.
All right, whatever. I can't. That's all I know. So I got the.
All right.
Seattle in the
Here's
over.
here's the definitive final. Seattle
about
will
you?
win 34-23. Just go ahead and mark it down.
34-23.
So go ahead and mark
All right.
that down. That's a.
Is that 57
Now, have
points?
you guys? And then here comes my tale of the two dicks. Have you guys ever heard of Sam Darnold? Of course, obviously,
Yeah.
he's a
Quarterback.
of the Seattle Seahawks.
Seahawks. Yep.
Super Bowl, whatnot. His great, you know how all these guys, the genes in their families. These great athletes, they got some good ass genes. And but Sam Darnold's grandfather. Listen to this. This is what this Sam Darnold's grandfather has accomplished. He was a USC two-sport star in volleyball and basketball, but was better in basketball in college.
And volleyball was unheard of back then.
So, but then after college, he then goes on to the Olympic basketball or the Olympic volleyball team and competes, and I believe they won a gold. And he gets out of there, and he becomes the captain of the most elite firefighting unit in the L.A. area. And not only that,
That's kinda cool.
And not only that, he was one of the 4 original Marlboro men. You know,
Right.
the good-looking dudes that would be on the
Had the
billboard
dart
with
going.
the hat
Yeah.
on.
Is Tom Selleck a Marlboro guy?
No,
Yes, he
Could-
was.
might have been. Was he? I don't think he
That's
was.
how he got famous.
But anyway, Sam Darnold's grandfather.
kind of made
You
it
just
up.
made that
I
up.
think
Sam,
it's true though.
Sam Darnold's grandfather did all that. But you know what his name was? This is the best part of it.
Peanut.
What?
Dick Hammer.
Nice.
Dude. Dick Hammer. If you've accomplished all that and your name's Dick Hammer, that's just that's what
That's
you're,
good.
If your name is Dick Hammer, do you have any other choice but to do all of that?
You got to be a stud.
Right. You cannot be an accountant
No.
with the name
That was
Dick
his.
Hammer.
That was his last name. Was Hammer? It can't be.
And his name was Dick Hammer.
Okay.
Dude.
Official name, not a made up.
That's how
Dick.
he went by Dick Hammer.
He went
That
by
was his
Dick Hammer.
nickname.
He didn't go by Richard Hammer. He went by Dick Hammer.
I know, but what's the quarterback's name?
What are some of the other jobs that you
Sam.
could not have,
What's his last name?
Darnold? It's his
Right.
wife's father.
Oh, I thought you said it was his dad.
It's his wife's. It was his grandfather.
All right, whatever. I suck.
Thanks for listening.
I didn't listen.
Fuck.
He's still hung up on the lobby story.
All right. You know what the other? It was a story of.
Can we be
of
done?
2 dicks, but there was another guy.
Dick Hammer.
And the story goes that in Honolulu, female prison.
This is not
and
football related.
This is the tale of the 2 dicks. So this is the other dick I'm talking about.
okay.
So now we're on to the next dick.
All right.
You guys are both dicks.
Here we
He's
go.
mad at us. I think
So
he's mad.
in Honolulu, there's a female prison, and as in some prisons that have stories have gone viral before, is that there was a guard
JJ.
who would take pleasures in different things, and
Please.
he had the prisoners giving him oral pleasure, you know, as a part of his routine.
Yeah, that's not good.
So yeah, that's not so. But nobody's doing anything, and it's
That's
just a
wrong.
routine, right?
That's wrong.
So this gal from the Philippines gets locked up for dope or whatever she's locked up for, and she decides she's had enough. So the next time it happens, she does orally pleasure the man, the guard, but she keeps the
shit.
in her mouth and then
Oh.
spits it into a garment, and then goes and makes the complaint, right? And the guard gets, he's in trouble. They've got DNA now, and he gets fired and goes to prison.
Good.
But you know what his name was?
Oh no.
Dick Hammer.
Richard Seaman, a.k.a.
Oh, come
Dick
on.
Seaman.
Come on.
Come on.
Dick Seaman.
Sometimes
No, I get
truth
it.
is
think I'm
better
lying?
than fiction.
Look it up.
Where do you come up with
I
this?
agree.
Where
you
do
can
you
fact
come
check
up
me
with
on
this?
this shit. Dick Seaman, a security guard, a correctional officer that just was out there doing his thing.
We
Oh,
get some-
he was out there.
Well, if your
He
name's
had
Dick
his shit
Seaman,
out
that's
there. It was out there.
Then again, with a name like Dick Seaman, that seems to be like your thing. Is that you just run around doing silly shit like that?
Right.
If you're gonna have
Yeah.
the name Dick Seaman, but that's just me.
What was her name?
Oh boy.
Oh,
Now we're rolling. Here we go. What do you got, Chad?
Yeah, not everybody thinking.
What do you got?
I'm just thinking you might have had something come right after.
Like Never Swallows or something like that.
Right.
Oh.
No.
getting a little-
Let's keep
I
on
thought this
going.
was a family show.
Yeah, no shit.
Huh? I thought the
Let's
kids
just
watched
keep
this.
on going.
All right.
But JJ,
What about her? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
No.
I'm going on to the next subject. If you got something relative,
No,
say.
did we talk about Chris, the chief? We did that, and
Right.
Kyle.
Well,
okay,
Chris is next week.
right.
Chris
That's
Neese.
right.
Yeah, but
That's
I
right.
did explain to him that's because
I
part
heard
of the whole thing.
Yeah.
You'll cut that shit out, won't you?
No. I love to confuse the listeners because our stupidity is sometimes entertaining. What do you think? Hey, JJ, one of our prior guests had a tremendous case at Wash U in Jeff Staggy, who's a great friend of ours, been on the show with Tom Lake. He came on. Let's hear what Jeff did.
Jeff, my neighbor, and was a former homicide detective. Now he's working for Washington University as a detective, and they had this serial creep. He was he was a predator. He would go into the women's bathroom at the WashU library, which then WashU lets anybody go in the library. It's actually a federal, any library that's open to the public, anybody can go in.
Walk in. Right.
So anyway, he was going in, sneaking in, and he would go into the stall, and he'd set up a backpack.
In the women's bathroom.
The women's bathroom, set up a backpack with a camera, and he would videotape women go in the bathroom and doing all their things. And he would just ended up getting caught. And it was a great investigation. I'm not getting too deep. But he ended up getting like 100 and something victims. And Jeff investigated it.
Yeah.
Got the victims, had to call them and call them and tell them, hey, some of them didn't even realize. But one gal went in there and she got creeped out by him because she saw him move this backpack and she
Maybe a guy being in the girls' bathroom.
yeah, it was weird, the whole thing. And she saw the
Kind of strange.
saw the shoe and recognized his shoe, and then she didn't say nothing the first time, so she leaves, but she was creeped out. And then a week or so later, and I might be screwing this, but I'm pretty sure this is accurate. She goes back in the bathroom and
Sees that same shoe.
sees the same shoe, and so this time comes back and she sits and waits to see who comes out. Well, this guy comes out dressed like a woman with the hair and long stuff, but she recognized the shoe. And ended up Jeff.
See, I jumped the gun. A guy going in the girls'
Yeah,
bathroom.
but he came out like
himself.
disguised himself on the way out.
All right.
And so she reports it. They end up getting video, and Jeff did a long investigation. And finally, they got warrants issued on this guy. And the crazy thing is, he was doing the same thing in Illinois,
Yeah.
and he got caught. He was on probation for it.
Oh.
But so Jeff calls his probation officer in Illinois, and they said, "No, you guys seem like you got your own case. They're not going to violate him." So they didn't violate him in Illinois, but
Because he's in another state and just.
it's Illinois, brother. I won't say no more. But
All right.
They didn't want to hey,
Right.
we got him here. They're not going to violate him for the same thing he did in Illinois. They're not going to violate him for what he did in Missouri. But and anyway, so Jeff gets warrants issued and calls all the victims, and they had a press release today for WashU, and he's been convicted, and he's hopefully goes to jail for a long time.
So the St. Louis County will prosecute him.
Right.
Out of WashU.
Right.
So that's.
They did, and I think they did a press release today, and somebody might. I haven't seen it yet because I haven't been on TV or.
Somebody said something.
Yeah, someone did
press
say
conference.
But anyway, they did a press conference for it today, and I think Jeff did a great job doing what he
Stay.
does. He does detective work, and that's what he does, dude.
Doing what he does.
He's a heck of a detective.
Hey,
Now, do you think then that this is just, you said the gal, notices the same shoe.
Right.
If you're a gal and you see a big old shoe, like
He might have little feet. I
size
don't know.
11 shoe.
Michael Jordan.
Do you you guys got to go, man, that's
Something right.
this dude's got a
so
big
weird.
old
But he had
11.
Susie.
hundreds of videos of these girls
Pretty sicko.
doing crazy
Weirdo,
stuff.
sicko.
Right.
Ooh, those guys. Ugh.
That Melissa Price Smith, the prosecutor in the county right now.
Yeah.
What a great job she's doing, man.
Good.
I mean, she's knocking it out of the park. St. Louis County PD, they're on board with her. I mean, just
She was great when she was in the city too.
And
you're
and-
right, Johnny.
Hey.
She was
And
actually
Jeff said, "Don't bring this up on the podcast."
So that's just like you saying, cut this.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, just leave it alone." I'm like, "No, I'm saying something." You did a good job and give me credit.
Right, exactly. And you're a friend.
Yeah.
So we're down for
He's my
calling
buddy.
out friends.
He's my buddy, right?
I forgot about that, John. She was in the city circuit attorney's office first. That's right.
Tried a bunch of cases with
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. She's doing a
Great
wonderful job there. Non-political. Didn't even anticipate ever running for public office in her future.
Here she is.
And here she is. And I've
She
met
did
with
do a
her
great
several
job in the
times.
city.
She did.
She's
Yeah.
a great
She
prosecutor.
did.
Yeah.
She's a great gal.
And she's
And,
carrying that over
she's
into
fair,
the county.
Very
yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Best of luck.
Yeah. So, any rate.
And then, but Johnny, last week we talked about DTF St. Louis, which was a
Oh, yeah.
movie
Oh, yeah.
that's going to be set here in St. Louis, or a miniseries.
You asked me if
That'll
I
be
knew
sad.
what that was, and I didn't know. I got to be honest with you. I didn't know what that meant.
You do.
The
know.
DTF thing?
I
I didn't
do
know
now.
what it meant until I Googled it.
Okay.
I wasn't down
Yeah.
with the acronym, just.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I didn't run around just texting people DTF,
No, I'm sure you did, but I'm just.
But Johnny, you found a movie that you wanted to talk about that was actually filmed in St. Louis that has a lot of influence here in St. Louis. So tell us a little bit about that.
Soul on Fire?
No,
Not yet.
this is from 1961. It's a black and white movie called The Hoodlum Priest. You guys heard of the Dismas House?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Halfway House, Federal Halfway House here in St. Louis, up on Cote Brilliant.
Yep. It's the story of how that was, how it came about. So there was a
Catholic priest.
a Jesuit priest named Charles Dismas Clark. Now, Dismas wasn't his real name. Dismas was a biblical character who got crucified alongside Christ. They called him the good thief because they were getting crucified together, but he talked to Jesus before the crucifixion, and Jesus convinced him that if he followed, and believed in what he was preaching, that he would go to heaven. So anyway, the Dismas thing is all through this movie, and I'm not going to give the plot of the movie out because I want people to watch it because it's a really good movie. But Father Clark was here in St. Louis with the help of first of all, he was a teacher at a Jesuit school, but his passion was helping convicts, but mainly ex-convicts, get on their feet after they got out of prison. The movie was shot in St. Louis, and even the part where the main character gets let out of prison in Jeff City, that was actually shot in Jeff City.
I'll be darned.
So it was very authentic at the time. But Don Murray was the actor who portrayed Father Clark. He was in St. Louis promoting a different movie called Shake Hands with the Devil. And Don Murray was nominated for Academy Award for the movie Bus Stop with Marilyn Monroe. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Anyway, he was in town. Father Clark, who was helped by, and this name's come up before in one of our shows, is a famous attorney in St. Louis was Morris Schenker.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day. Mm-hmm. So Morris Schenker was friends with the father, and they were trying to open up a halfway house, which back then in the late 50s, halfway houses weren't really a thing very much. There was just a few around the country. But he wanted to build this, this facility where these ex-cons could come, they could live there, they could go out and find work and not get in trouble again. That was the thing. So Don Murray's in town promoting this movie, and Father Clark and Morris Schenker approached him at this premiere or whatever it was, or this event. And and Father Clark said, "Hey, we've got a lot of things in place, but we need some publicity. Would you be interested in making a made-for-TV movie about what we're doing, so we can raise funds?" And Murray loved it so much. He says, "No, we'll make a feature film about it." So he went back. He went back and like I said, they decided to make the movie here in St. Louis because it was so believable. Because of the, and the movie was filmed here, and they filmed them in actual bad parts of the city. The main character, the guy that Father Clark was trying to help, was Billy Lee Jackson. Well, Father Clark got him a job down in Produce Row, and probably a third of the movie was filmed in Produce Row down there off of North Broadway.
Yeah.
And you'll see it. When you see it, it's...
Is it clearly Produce Row?
Yeah, it's clearly Produce Row. And you'll just... All the scenes, it's before the arch and that, but if you watch the movie, you'll recognize a lot of the neighborhoods and down along the railroad tracks down there off of Shoto and off of Broadway. But... so they made the movie, and it's a really good movie. I watched it again yesterday. And
Johnny, what's the name of it?
Hoodlum Priest.
Hoodlum Priest. Okay.
And they think Father Clark over the years helped 3,500 ex-cons.
Yeah.
At least tried to help them. You know, he interacted with them.
Was he associated? I mean, I'm kind of deeper than you probably researched, but was he associated with any parishes around here? Or?
He was, you know, he was a Jesuit, and apparently there was like a Jesuit high. It wasn't St. Louis University, but high school, but there was a Jesuit school, and he was a teacher there. But he always was like getting out of going to class to help these different people.
Right.
So finally, you know, his superiors told him, "Hey, we're going to find somebody else to replace you in the school. We want you to work with these ex-cons." So he ran with it. Morris Schenker helped him. They found an old schoolhouse, abandoned schoolhouse down there at 9th and Lucas, down where the dome is now. They fixed it up. You know, they made it into like a place where these guys could stay, and then, you know, and the father and other people would go out and find them jobs during the day.
It's a great concept.
Yeah.
I
it
mean,
was
to
called-
this day,
Yeah,
you know.
and they said the recidivism of people who went in the Dismas house was like, you know, like 10% or something like that. Most
Right.
people who went through Father Clark's program never went back to prison, at least back then.
Right, right.
But it was it's a neat story. But
Have they fallen off since?
they probably
As far as the Dismas house goes,
Yeah.
I'm here to verify the fact that it's well higher than 10% nowadays.
Right.
and to go back to the T.T. Jordan
Right,
story, one of the guys that they killed was in front of the Dismas house.
right.
You know, so
50-30, Colt Brilliant.
So anyway, the movie was somewhat of a success. You know, it went over budget because Murray insisted on it being filmed here. They filmed it. One scene was at the Dublin Village. It was a low rent bar like down on St. Charles Avenue downtown. But you
Have
know,
we been there?
it boasted the longest bar.
It's a
in
bar,
St.
probably.
St. Louis, yeah. But there's like a sleazy scene where this girl's dancing around, and you know, and Father Clark goes in there to try and find people that.
And then Richard Seaman came in.
No, he already came and left.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was
Hey,
going to
since
happen.
we're being movie critic right
I
now,
knew it. I just didn't know who was going to say it, JJ or Tommy. I knew the dirtiness was going to come into it.
So
Go
anyway,
ahead, John.
go.
since we're movie critics now, I gotta say one thing.
Well, can John finish?
I thought he was.
No.
I'm sorry, John.
JJ does this
Sorry,
to me
Jeff.
every week.
I want to hear the end of the story.
I thought it
JJ's
was.
attention
No,
span
it's
is-
not.
There's a little bit left.
This
JJ.
story is well over
I'm sorry.
JJ's attention
Yeah,
span.
you went way too long. Go
Right.
on, John.
No,
keep going.
Just a
John,
little bit
keep-
left, JJ.
All right, sorry.
So anyway, the movie gets released in 1961.
The best part.
They had a big premiere. Cardinal Ritter of Cardinal Ritter fame, was it Joseph Ritter? He gave Catholics disposition to go off Lent to go to the premiere.
It's unheard of.
You know, they Jimmy Hoffa.
What was it, on a Friday?
Yeah.
It was.
Jimmy Hoffa came in town,
During Lent.
you know, and sat with the mayor. They were drinking together, Mayor Tucker. So it was a big deal in St. Louis.
Jimmy Hoffa was in town?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
This is
Jimmy-
actually getting interesting, John.
Well,
Jimmy Hoffa?
you know, his daughter was a county judge.
Oh shit.
Who, Jimmy Hoffa's?
Yes.
and
County judge?
Act like it checks like disappointed in us.
What are you talking about?
John, finish
No.
your story, brother. It's
sorry,
getting-
John,
now
to
it's
interrupt.
actually- this is getting
completely
it's
lost
getting
control.
All right, so Jimmy Hoffa, you know, what trade was he with? Check
Teamsters.
Teamsters. he gave a lot of these ex-cons jobs, you know, Teamster jobs. So anyway, so it all goes good, but another interesting side note to this is Morris Schenker was part owner of the Dunes Hotel in Vegas,
Vegas, yeah.
and he was good friends with Sinatra and Dean Martin and the Rat Pack.
Sammy Davis.
So in 1965, they had a fundraiser for the Dismas House at the Kiel Opera House. It was Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Joey Bishop, all them. The band was Count Basie Orchestra.
Wow.
Commonly known as the Rat Pack.
Yeah, the Rat Pack, and the MC was Johnny Carson.
Holy shit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And recently they found somebody dug up footage of this, and it's been released as a DVD or whatever, a video. But they raised tens of thousands of dollars for the Dismas House, and I think shortly after that, though, that was 65 was when they had the Rat Pack event, and then the father died like shortly after that. But the Dismas House is still in.
Still going.
Damn right.
Still going.
One of the newly
but-
appointed board members was is the president, I believe, Brad Ortega.
Yeah, Brad Ortega's up there.
Yeah. So, but the reason I bring all this up is they use actual St. Louis City policemen in the movie. So, if you watch the movie, all the scenes that have cops in it, they're St. Louis City police cars, and our friend Al Legates was in the movie.
Oh.
Alligates.
Hilltop.
Hilltop.
From the Hilltop, Al was,
My dad's partner in homicide.
Was he really?
yeah.
Yeah, my
I
dad.
saw Rosie not too long ago.
How's she doing?
She's doing good.
Go ahead, Johnny. Sorry.
But Al was
Wife.
in there, and Al had a close up, and the reason I even knew about this movie is his son Chris Legates.
Yeah.
I knew him from down at the Majestic years ago, and he told me about this movie, and I ordered it, the DVD, and I watched it. But Al's got a couple of close-ups, and there's a scene where he's driving, they're chasing, one of the bad guys around, and Al's on the radio calling it out. But it wasn't Al's voice; it was an actor.
Right.
Voiceover?
Right.
Bullshit.
They dug
That
it.
is
Right.
bullshit. And I
That's a
never
great
knew
story,
Alligates,
man.
but a typical
Yeah.
policeman,
Thank
you would
you.
probably rather voice over him than and put a star in there.
Right.
JJ and John, is that
That's the end.
wrap up
That's the end of it. But I'd like to encourage our listeners to
the Hoodlum Priest?
the Hoodlum Priest, go out and get a copy of it, or I think you can probably
I'm gonna
download
watch
it
it.
online or something.
Absolutely.
So JJ texted me the other night. I don't know if this is what you want to talk about.
Are we
do.
switching gears
Yeah,
now?
we're
No, it's
switching
kinda the
gears.
same
But this
level.
guy texted me the other night and says something about the 1980 Miracle Netflix thing.
It's called-
and then no. I gotta say I'm not gonna go find
JJ.
it. But JJ called it
This
the
isn't gonna be
best
good for
thing
you, I
that
think.
Netflix has ever come up with.
Oh, yeah,
and
I
I
saw
said, is
that.
that a? And I just
I'm
simply asked
staying
him.
strong with that.
He might have. I said, "Are you sure you're not caught up in the moment of just watching the movie? You come out of the movie, you're like, that's the best goddamn movie I read." Or,
Right.
You know,
It was-
or
it was
when
a
you eat steak-
documentary.
or you eat a steak and you're like, "That's the best goddamn steak." Well, it's the best steak since you had since the last best steak you had. There's no comparing them, but
Was that
What
the
was the
one where
movie
they had
title?
all the old guys
Yes,
from '80 and
it's
they
called
brought them
Mirror.
back?
Yes,
Yeah.
is
What's the name of the movie?
It's called. It's not. It's a documentary on Netflix called "Miracle: The Boys of 1980," and it's about the Miracle on Ice, the hockey team that beat the Red Arm.
I've seen it.
You just what? Not the movie. Not like the remake movie.
the Miracle on Ice
Not the Miracle on Ice movie. This is a documentary.
from
I didn't-
Netflix.
It brings
All
all
right.
the old players in and they sit them
We
down.
all kind of knew when you said I seen that. We all know you didn't see that. The way
saw
you said
Miracle
it,
with Kurt Russell
everybody knew
playing-
that you
No,
didn't see
no,
it.
no.
The,
It is-
who's the guy
it's-
that played Herb Brooks?
It's Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
He did a great job.
Not that.
But
All right.
I'm telling you, every person. I'm 100% serious about this.
Chet was so off.
He was,
I
but
mean,
he jumps to conclusions. But listen,
I caught
you're
the
not
movie.
even listening.
listen. I'm telling you, everyone needs to. Anybody born after 1980, maybe 1975 and after, need to watch this Netflix you call it a documentary, maybe, but it was called "Miracle: The Boys of 1980," and it talks about the Olympic team that beat the Russians and ended up winning the gold medal. It is an ass kicker. I think I'm not
concur.
I'm not gonna be a.
Did you watch
pussy.
it, Johnny?
Yeah, I
have
watched
not
it the
watched
other
it
night.
yet.
How many times did you choke up?
Many times.
You got choked up?
Oh,
Really?
hell yeah, dude.
No
It is
kidding.
unreal. These guys sit there. They bring them into the arena where they won the gold medal.
Right.
And they all sit there and they watch. They put a big screen up and they get to
Now,
watch.
don't ruin it,
No,
because
they
I'm going to
didn't.
watch it.
No, they watch. And they get to watch the interviews they did. Someone don't even remember being interviewed and, whatever. But the whole thing is unreal. It is I think is one of the it's going to be my favorite documentary I've ever watched.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Because
watch it.
Are you still standing on that?
Yes, because the 1980, the country was in, and this is what I'm going to make a point about. In 1980, the country was in the recession.
Yep.
Jimmy Carter was the weak president. It was just a bad time for this country. Nationalism was at an all-time low. And the Olympics started, and it ended up, people start jumping on the bandwagon, and like, holy crap. They weren't expected to beat the Russians. They were just the dynamo team. They were professionals playing against a bunch of amateurs.
Yep.
So it was unreal that the nationalism, the people started waving the flag. The whole country got involved in this, and we should all remember it. We were all
Jimmy.
probably in grade school when this was. We were all in grade school when this happened. And I remember being in church on a Sunday, and it was one of the second or third games, and the priest stopped and says, U.S. just went up and gave the score,
Nice.
and the whole place went
Is that
crazy.
right?
100%.
What parish was that?
St. Matthias. And I can't remember the priest's name. But I'm
That's
telling you what,
That's neat.
if you're born after 1975 or 80, you need to watch this. This country was in a bad way, and it ended up becoming the nationalism, which is patriotic,
Jimmy,
was unreal.
did they play the Al Michaels?
Actually, they did. Oh, of course they did.
You
And I
had
actually,
to.
and I actually have a thing in my office. If you press the button, it gives Al Michaels' call.
Do you,
And I bought that. Do you believe in miracles? And I bought that for my son when he was a little kid.
Right.
And it's in my office now, so it's actually his. But I'll give
Yeah.
it to him. I'll give Huggy someday. He'll get it.
How
That's
often
cool.
do you press the button?
All the time. When I go in there, it's like boom, and it's amazing because it changed the little
Is that
battery.
because that you walk in as a lieutenant and you're like, "Do you believe in miracles?" I'm a lieutenant. I'm
Pretty-
a fucking lieutenant.
Pretty much. Could be. But I'm telling you, if you haven't watched it, every kid should watch this. And it is so patriotic, and I love it. And people were throwing the American flag out. It was.
I just
unreal.
have
I'm
a
going to
tough
watch it
time
tonight
saying.
when I get home.
It's so
I'm
good,
not
dude.
saying.
It's
I
I'm
know
not
Mary's
debating.
going to be in bed. So
I am not debating that it is awesome, but I am debating: is it the best thing that Netflix has ever done?
It's the most patriotic thing I've ever seen on Netflix.
All right, I'm down with that.
And what this
I just
country
thought you
is.
were caught up in the moment.
And now that the Olympics is coming, we're right
Yeah,
around
oh,
the
yeah.
corner
Right
for
in there.
Olympics. We need this country is in a bad way. We're
It's called
divided.
marketing and timing. That's why they did that.
This country needs something like that again to happen.
I agree.
9/11 happened, and
We
the
don't
country
need no
got all
9/11.
stuck together.
We don't need no
After 9/11,
Let's go ahead and take the gold in hockey.
I'm just saying, after 9/11, the country became patriotic. And unfortunately, 9/11,
You're right.
it took 9/11
Yeah.
to do that. And now, hopefully, now, a sport, whatever, Miracle on Ice was the same. The country was in a bad way then, and it brought the country together.
Yeah.
We need something like that. Hopefully, the Olympics this year comes up, and we get something that brings everybody together.
I agree. Hey, can I just mention one thing? Rolling
do you
off
got?
the hockey and the
What do
Olympic
you got?
thing. Notorious family, famous family.
Oh, I thought you
here
were
in
talking
St.
about
Louis.
Notorious B.I.G.
No. The Saracenos.
Uh-huh.
Chris and Joni Saraceno's son is playing on the Italian national hockey team. Has dual citizenship. Of course, the Saracenos famous for the Bartolino's restaurant
This Olympics?
right now.
Are you shitting me?
No, Nick.
Holy
Nick
shit. I knew he
Saraceno.
was a great hockey player.
Nick Saraceno went to CBC,
Holy cow.
did his thing, tried out for the Blues and some professional.
I
I'm
knew
not
he
sure
was-
if
I
he
knew
was
he was a
drafted
hockey
or not. Chris and Joni being a maiden name, Simon,
Well,
Jimmy
Boardman.
Simon, Paul, yeah, exactly right. Went out,
Long
has-
time city relationship from the two.
Sure.
Coming
Judge
from two
Simon.
long
Wow.
time city families.
What a
Judge-
humble family.
Judge Simon,
'Cause, yeah, I would never
daughter, Joni, married Chris Saraceno from the Bartolino's restaurant family. Had a son, Nick. Nick is now on the Italian
That is unreal.
national hockey team and will be competing in the Olympics.
That's cool.
How old is Nick?
He's like 34, isn't he?
No, early 20s.
No, I thought he was
But
34. I looked him up.
Is he? No, I don't think he's 34, Johnny. Maybe I'm wrong, but here's what I do know: he's on the team.
Right.
I'm rooting
And
for him. I'm
He
rooting
has
for him.
dual,
Damn right.
dual citizenship,
That's awesome.
U.S. and Italian. Yeah.
Italy
How cool is
wins it.
that?
Toast of ravioli for everybody.
So watch that.
let's
Wa-
friggin'
watch-
roll.
Look out for Nick Saraceno.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll be back.
So we got a little,
We got to end this thing. We're done. We've been
all right.
too long. We'll see you guys next week. We're out. Communities that support law enforcement are safer places to live. Peace.
What a night.